Good morning, FlossTube friends. This is Lisa, Lady Huzzah Presents on FlossTube, Lady Huzzah on Instagram. Wow, it has been a hot minute since I have come to you with my FlossTube, but there's been a lot going on that I can go on to explain. I hope everyone had a very happy holiday. We certainly did too. The holiday, well, there's been a couple holidays. There's been Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day, but we're going to back up to Christmas because that's when I was with you last. Okay, where do I start? Well, there's been a lot going on. I mean, just within our world, it's just been hard for me to come to you with a FlossTube video because there's been a lot going on nationally, internationally, and personally, which I will give you a little bit of a life update first, and then we can get going with all of my WIP parade. And actually, I do have several finishes and a fully finished to share with you today, and of course, a fun giveaway. You know, it's just been a very difficult emotional time with the natural disasters, the plane crashes, just everything going on in the world, and we lost a true icon in the cross-stitch community. I know many of you have mentioned Jean Lee of the Attic, her passing, but you know what? She was a wonderful woman that touched so many lives, and that's why so many people are mentioning her. Jean was a wonderful woman who truly was a huge presence in the cross-stitch community. Any one of you that have ever met her or have been to the Attic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She fought a tough battle with cancer and was a lady of class and dignity and just fought it with all that she had. It was something that we knew was coming, but we all hoped would not. So Jean, you'll truly be remembered in the lives of many stitchers forever and ever. She was just a very special woman, and I was just devastated to see that she had passed. A woman of grace, a woman of talent, a woman who was enthusiastic. Her enthusiasm just bubbled over into her stitching life, and then that also carried on to many stitchers all over the world. I've been finding myself going back and watching the floss tubes that she's done with Carolyn from the shop, Two Tarts and Their Starts. Whenever I need a little bit of comfort about Jean, I go back and look at her videos. So, you know, like to all those floss tubers out there, this is something we have to share with our friends and families also long after we're gone. And actually, it's really kind of comforting. The other thing is, more personally, that is going on in my life. When I came to you before Christmas, I was mentioning to you that we were going to be able to spend the holiday, you know, together with our kids. Our daughter, you know, Erin lives in Germany, and our son, Ryan, lives in New York. Well, what I didn't say was that we were traveling to Germany for Christmas to spend the holiday with our daughter. Our son flew to Germany also. Of course, I didn't want to tell the whole world that my house would be empty for 2 weeks, but we had a wonderful time with her. This year, especially, it was important for us to all be together. Okay, right before Thanksgiving, we were chatting with our daughter, and she told us that she was diagnosed with HER2 positive breast cancer in her left breast. We had already had our trip planned to visit her for many months. For the better part of the year, we knew that we were going to be in Germany for Christmas of 2024. So seeing that she had this diagnosis, it was even more special to us to be able to be there together as a family to support her as she started her cancer journey. When she was diagnosed, Erin was only 32. She found her mass by herself because she's too young for a mammogram. Unfortunately, it seems like more and more people are coming down with breast cancer or other cancers at a young age. Obviously, we were devastated. She has an amazingly great attitude and has so many people praying for her. So all of you, I would love if you could add our daughter, Erin, to your prayers also. There's never too many prayers, good wishes, positive mojo, good karma, whatever. Whoever you reach out to for healing and solace, please keep our daughter in your prayers. When we went over to Germany, she had not started her treatments yet. She had gotten her port. They put her chemo port in her left arm, which was new to me. I've always known them to be on the chest. But honestly, as her mama, when I saw her arm bandaged up and her arm all bruised, my knees went weak, because as a mom, I would rather bear this cross for her than to see her go through all of this. So I did tell her that when she lost her hair, I would shave my head, and my husband said that he would shave his head too. And she said, "Oh dear Lord, please don't do that. Please don't do that." She's like, "Only one of us needs to lose our hair." So we didn't do that. However, my husband did something very sweet for her, or us as a family, that in Williamsburg, there's a store called Williamsburg Jewelers that they are fabulous. It's a really cool jewelry store. They kind of have jewelry from sort of smaller jewelry producers and artisans. And one of the things they have there are what they call the Williamsburg original cuff bracelets. And they are created by the person who was this master silversmith from Colonial Williamsburg. He's now retired from Colonial Williamsburg, but he does still make his bracelets for Williamsburg jewelry. So my husband found a bracelet there. This one's called, it's just very plain, and it was called the Erin bracelet. So of course it totally fit for our daughter. So he bought an Erin bracelet for her and one for himself. They're unisex, our son and myself, that we wear as our circle of strength for our daughter. So we have that instead of losing our hair. Nice option. But anyway, Williamsburg Jewelers in Williamsburg, Virginia, check them out online. They have beautiful, beautiful things. And if you are ever visiting Williamsburg, Virginia, go check them out. It's definitely worth it. They are so supportive of the community and other small businesses in town. And it's really just a great place. Michael is the owner, and he's fantastic. The other thing that I find myself wearing a lot is my heart pendant that my husband bought me when our daughter was born. I told him, I said, when you have a baby, flowers are nice, but it's a lot more work than that. I needed jewelry. So he bought me this diamond heart pendant, which really has been a treasured possession of mine over the years. And then he did get me another piece of jewelry when our son was born. So anyway, update on Erin. She has to have chemo, surgery, and then radiation. And it's a long journey for her. So far, she has had 2 chemo treatments, is due to have another one on Wednesday. She's getting treated at the biggest hospital in Hamburg, Germany. It's a big teaching hospital, and she feels very confident of her caregivers. A number of people have asked me whether she's going to come home for her treatments, but you know, she has insurance in Germany. She does not have insurance in the States, and she has lived there for 10 years and is very well connected with her friends, her job. She has a wonderful support system and very inclusive insurance that will cover everything. So to date, she has had 2 chemo treatments. She has lost her hair. So she's either wearing turbans or nothing, or little caps, or she has purchased some wigs that we kind of had fun trying on at Christmas time when we were there. We took some photos of all of us wearing wigs. But anyway, she has not had any kind of nausea. That's what people always dread. She has had some extreme fatigue, and sometimes food tastes different to her. And then it all seems to resolve itself for a number of days before going back for her next treatment. So treatment number 3 is Wednesday. Please keep her in your prayers. My husband is traveling back to Germany at the end of February, and he will be with her for about 3 weeks. I will be going over probably when she has her surgery. So I'll be over there for a few weeks also. Anyway, again, that's been a real struggle on our heart. Such devastating news for a parent to hear about their child, no matter how old your child is, no matter how big they get, they're still always, always your baby. So that's been heavy on my heart, and that's why it's been difficult for me to come to all of you. I finally have it together. I think the part that, there's a couple parts that get me. I hope I don't get emotional, but as a nurse, for my almost 43 years of being a nurse, I have always been there for people when they are at a very bad time in their life or a very low time in their life. And here, when my daughter is in need, I can't be there. So anyway, the other thing that gets to me is the time change. Germany is 6 hours ahead. So, if she's going for a procedure, say at 8 o'clock in the morning, by the time I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work, it's already 11 o'clock in the morning there. So I can't message her or call her and say, hey, honey, thinking of you. I hope everything goes well today. So what I have found myself doing is if I wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I will look and see what time it is. And sometimes I will start to message her in the middle of the night. And then she will text me back and she'll say, go to bed, Ma. I'm okay. Go to bed. I'm like, I'm not setting an alarm to talk to you. I'm just, using the time for something else. So anyway, those are things that have been really difficult. And obviously the distance is so far also. I don't retire until the end of July. So right now I still have to keep my job and keep my benefits. I have applied for the FMLA at work. So I will get leave with that. Also, what was necessary is that my passport expires in July. So a lot of places don't let you travel if it's within 6 months of expiration. So we did renew my passport and I'm just waiting on my new one. So that is some of the delay in my being there. But my husband is very much looking forward to being with her. So anyway, a little bit more life update about our time at Christmas. We had a layover in Amsterdam for a few hours and then traveled on to Hamburg. And so I have to show you something funny. When I was in the airport in Hamburg, this happened. I bought myself some Dutch shoe slippers. They are really actually amazingly comfortable and just kind of fun. I think that one time, I don't know whether it was on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, I saw that Jeannette Douglas had some Dutch shoe slippers, and I knew that that was something that I needed for myself too. So that was kind of fun. I also purchased a giveaway for all of you at the airport. They're not slippers. It was too cumbersome to bring home 2 pairs. But I did get kind of a fun giveaway to share with all of you that I'll talk about later. While we were in Germany, we spent Christmas in Hamburg with our daughter, and then we traveled. We arrived on the 21st of December, left the States on the 20th, arrived in Germany on the 21st. We had a lovely Christmas with our daughter. Boy, can that girl cook. She made us some wonderful, wonderful food. On the 26th then, we did go to some of the Christmas markets, which is always fun. We were able to get to a few of those before they close, right before Christmas. On the 26th, we took a train to the Bavaria and Franken area, and we visited Munich, Bamberg, and Nuremberg, and that was really fun. We had a few days in that area. It was great to see other towns and cities in Germany that I hadn't been to before. And then we came back in time for New Year's Eve. Well, let me tell you, they celebrate New Year's Eve in Germany. And that is another little giveaway gift that I have for you. They have all their traditions. They start fireworks. Well, you'll hear them throughout the week a little bit and throughout the evening on New Year's Eve. But oh my gosh, they do fireworks in the streets like crazy. Like it went on for over an hour. It was really a lot of fun. And we had the traditional food that they have for New Year's. We had, I forget what they call the donuts. Well, we had the donuts. Oh, darn it. I forget the name of the donuts. But we had the donuts, and our daughter had friends come over for New Year's Eve, and it was just like a super ton of fun. I went to bed at 3:30 on New Year's, and I haven't done that in ages. It was great. So wonderful family time together, and now we're back to reality. We came back around the 4th of January, so it was a great, great visit. Anyway, some old business. I have winners of my last giveaway. I was giving away some things that had not been claimed throughout the year. The first one is this Blackbird book. And this goes to Joni Loves Stitching. So Joni, if you see this, please email me. My email will be in the show notes, and claim this book, and I will get it sent out to you. It also includes some floss drops that were mine that I created back when people were doing the floss drop exchange that feature some Blackbird pieces I've stitched. And I've also am sending you some of the little index card sticky sleeves that I put on the back of my framing to explain a little bit about the piece that is framed. I also have this beautiful project bag stitched by Nana Kay, Karen House Connect, and this goes to Karen Davis Macon, 9658. Thank you everyone who put in a comment to try to win these. But please, if you hear your name called, please email me and I will get these sent out to you. All right. So, some finishes that I have had so far. The first one I have for the year was a blessing sampler. Lots of people stitch what they call a blessing sampler. They start it in January and hope to finish it by the end of January. And it's supposed to give them blessings in the new year. So I was able to start and finish this whole sampler. This is Little House Needleworks, 13 colonies. Now let me zoom in. I love this middle section. And I wanted to do this in honor of our country, being that in 2026, we will be celebrating 250 years as a country. Now this piece was really a lot of fun to stitch. There's 13 little star kind of like flower things around the outside. And what I found fun to do is when I stitch a sampler, I like to stitch what I call the guts of the sampler first. So I first stitched, just the rough outline of the border first, just to make sure that everything matched up. And then I stitched that inner rectangle and then the even smaller rectangle in the middle that holds the full coverage design and the little lines for the words of the colonies. And so that way it made it really easy to just go and fill in things. This piece, here I'll show you the chart. This piece was an absolute joy to stitch. Loved it. And I used the called for colors. Can't remember offhand what linen I used, but it was a 36 count linen. So that was one of my first finishes, start and finish for 2025, which I was really excited about that. The other one was this Christmas Tide sampler from Hands On Designs. And here we go. This is a fully finished. And this was a kit from the Homespun needlework group on Facebook, headed up by Julie Krasave. In this group, if you're not familiar with it, you join the group, and then throughout the year, Julie features exclusives from different designers, and they're available for a period of time that you can purchase the exclusive. The designs will be released at a later date, but it's really kind of fun. This one came as a kit. It included all of the finishing materials. There's another companion piece that goes with this, which is an ornament. And it was just super straightforward, and everything was there. And what was kind of cool about this is that Kathy did this as a 12 days of Christmas kind of stitch, starting on Christmas Day through Epiphany. And then each motif, she designated a piece to stitch each day, and each motif had an explanation of what it stood for. So I stitched this while I was in Germany, which kind of makes it even more special remembrance of my trip. And then the last 2 days had to wait because they were like our travel days, and stitching on this dark linen, it's a 32 count linen, is not really airplane conducive. So anyway, this was a really fun stitch. So that's one of them. And then, let's see. I have another, this was just a little one I did. Little Robin Designs, Straighten Your Crown. And this was stitched on Monte di Donna 36 count frog gray, and using the called for thread, which is Michael's Navy, Weeks Dye Works. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to finish this yet. I might do it as a drum, or I might do it as a pillow. But this was just a fun little stitch. So I've been kind of prolific here this year so far. My next finish, I know, I can't believe I have all these done and it's just mid-February. This was the Blue Flower Festive Forest, and this was from the Jingle Ball. I did not, I signed up for this class where I was able to download the PDF, but I did have to assemble it as a kit myself. And here it is. I can't wait to put it together. I used 36 count linen in the called for linen cypress from, I think it was XJude Designs. I think they called for 32 count linen, but I used 36. I did use the DMC and the Roxy Floss Co. colors. I did not get the Cottage Garden threads. But this was a really fun stitch to do, and I can't wait to put it together. So I'll have to share all of it, share it with you when I'm finished. So wait, there's one other finish which I am super excited about. This was on my WIPGO last year, and it was on my WIPGO again this year. But I was able to finish it up way speedier than I had thought. And I'll explain my WIPGO to you. I'll be talking a lot about my WIPGO for 2025 in the rest of the video. So anyway, I finished Dasher and Dancer. I started it in, 2 years ago. It took me 2 years to stitch this. This was stitched on 36 count Dolly Madison linen from Needle and Flax. And I used bandana, Classic Color Works bandana. So here you go. Here's my girl. I loved this stitch. So anyway, what a huge achievement. I was really thrilled to finish her. So Dasher and Dancer. So that's my finishes so far for this year. All right. So let's see. I did have to make a list today because I just had too much to share with you. All right. So anybody that knows me, that has been following me, knows that I just love working on the wool projects from Attic Heirlooms. Trish Harriman owns Attic Heirlooms, and she has a Facebook page called Stitch Along with Attic Heirlooms. In the past, you've seen that I did the woolly Christmas tree, and it's kind of like a club. Each month, there's a free download of a pattern that is free for that month, and then you can purchase it afterwards. She also has kits available for her monthly installments of the projects for the year. And then she also has a website for Attic Heirlooms where you can order other things. So I have done the woolly tree, the woolly Christmas tree, which I have shared with you. I've also done her woolly fall tree that has little acorns, little fabric tufted acorns that you hang on the tree. Well, I suggested to Trish, I said, you know, any chance that you have a Valentine's tree? I said, I would love to buy some wool from you to make a Valentine's tree and hang little hearts on it. Well, she took it one step further. So I just received this recently, so I did not have it finished in time for Valentine's Day this year. So it's okay, it takes some of the pressure off. But everything is in here. I'll show you what came with the... So I believe that you can buy the tree separately, or you can buy it with the ornaments. I'm not quite sure because I wanted all of it. Once she said that she could kit it. So this is a base that comes with it. Very cool. A little vintage base. You get your dowel for the trunk. You get all of your pre-cut wire pieces. You get your floral tape, clothespins and glue that you need to use during the assembly process of the tree. And then I also received these wools. This pink wool will be for the tree, and then the red and white are for the heart ornaments. And then there's also some little hearts and keys that go on the ornaments. And then here's a picture of the finished tree. If you've never checked out Trish Harriman's website, you need to. Her directions are great. Her kits are very reasonable. Her products are very reasonable. So here's the Valentine's tree. So I'm pretty excited about starting that and plan to do so soon. The other thing is that her project for the year this year on the Stitch Along with Attic Heirlooms is a 4 seasons type project. So she is using these tin containers and spools as the basis for her project. So there will be 4 seasonal vignettes that you create, and you can either change them out on the same pieces, or you can order 4 spools and 4 tins. It's up to you. You can do it, and she provides directions to do it either way. So the one for January, you know what? I tried to take everything out of packages because I know some people don't like crunching, but I really don't mind it. So this was the January. This is Hello Spring. Oh, there's also a dowel that comes with it to hold up the Hello Spring sign. So this one was the Hello Spring, a bee skep. Here's all the pieces and parts. And then for February, it was the treatment for the tin. Let me take this out. So what's great, you can participate in all of it or part of it. But again, it's really a lot of fun, and you'll see a lot of creativity on the Facebook page for all of her creations and seeing how other people are, you know, customizing it to their likes, whether they buy the kits of her wool or use their own wool. You know, it's really nice to see what other people are doing. So make sure you check that out. Okay, then the other thing that I have been participating in is a stitch along from the Queen City Sampler Guild, and we are all working on Martha Miller, this sampler. Now this sampler was designed by, or reproduced by my friend Sylvia from Running with Needles and Scissors. And this really has been a fun piece so far. I was a little bit behind in getting started because I was deciding on my linen. So I finally settled on 36 count purled barley from Lakeside. And I'll show you how far I've gotten. Not very, but... Oh, and these are the Vicki Clayton silks that I'm using. If you've never used Vicki Clayton silks, they're amazing. Love them. So easy to work with, so smooth. So for the stitch along, the pattern was divided into 9 pieces, 9 sections, but I am a border girl. I do like to get my border done first. So I'm working on that. I do have some more work to do to catch up, but here I'll show a little closer. So I'm just getting the little border done, but there'll be more to show next month. All right, so that's what I'm currently working on. The other thing that I mentioned that we would do this time, which is really kind of fun, I'll explain to you how I do my WIPGO. Okay, last year was my first year for WIPGO, and I had never done it and wasn't really sure I'd like it because I kind of like to stitch on what I want, when I want, and I thought that that would be kind of limiting. However, they say, you know, your WIPGO, your board. So with WIPGO, there is a WIPGO group on Facebook that you can look to and join. On the 25th of the month, whoever the administrator is, pulls 2 numbers, 1 through 25, and you kind of line up a bingo board with numbers 1 through 25. There is a free space because there's only 24, slots for the month, for the year, because they pull 2 names a month. So, and then you assign a project to each of those numbered squares. So each month when the numbers are pulled, those 2 squares, those 2 projects are the ones that you work on during that month, and you set your own goals. So what I have set in the past, or last year, was to do 10 hours on each piece. So between the 2 pieces, I would have 10 hours on each, which I thought was manageable, that I could still do some of my other projects that I could do, because I also like to do stitching exchanges and what have you. So I did okay with WIPGO last year until around September. And then I got into Christmas exchanges I was doing, or my kids' ornaments, or just different things that I wanted to stitch for the holiday. So this year I decided to change it up a bit. I put a project on each square. Most of them are WIPs. Some of them are new starts that I would like to do. And then I put a second project, and the second project was something large, a large WIP that I have that I'd like other opportunity to work on it throughout the year. So I did double up on those. I did put, that larger project on a number of the squares. So when I talked about Dasher and Dancer, I had that on my WIPGO for January, but then I also, that as my second larger project to work on, but then I spread it out throughout the year on other months. And so now I can fill in something else on those months. So also, people tend to reward themselves in different ways for WIPGO. So some people say, oh, you don't need a reward because you should enjoy the joy of stitching, just for the joy of stitching. Well, you know what? I like a reward. So this is how I set up my WIPGO. And it's a fun thing I'm going to share with you today. If I meet my WIPGO goal, I had a little purse in my whole bag of WIPs, my whole basket of WIPs. I had a little purse there. So say it was number 12 that was called for the month. So if I met my WIPGO goal for stitching that month on that piece, I would put $12 into a little purse in my WIPGO project bag basket. So if I finished the piece, I would double it. And then if I fully finished the piece, I would add another $10. Hey, why not? I just figured that money will be nice stitching money, either to help pay for a retreat or to buy an exclusive or to buy just some things at a cross stitch shop. Now, I know it's kind of crazy. The money in our house is the money in our house, but it's just kind of fun to have your extra little stash. So last time I said that I would take my little purse and count the money with all of you of how much I have acquired throughout the year, throughout 2024 in my WIPGO purse. Now, as I mentioned, I kind of slowed down on WIPGO throughout the year, like as it hit September. However, if I did get a fully finish on one of my WIPGO pieces that I did pop that extra 10 in. So here's my little wallet. I have not counted anything, although I was just stuffing the bills in. And yesterday I went through and just lined them all up, but I promise I did not count anything. So here's my wad of money. Let's count and see what I paid myself for WIPGO last year that can now magically turn into other stitching things. Okay, so here's a 50. So I've got 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 100, 150, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes 250. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness, 350, 370, 390, 410, 420, 30, 40, 435, 440, 445, 450, 455, 460, 465, 470, 75, 80, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. $491 I was able to tuck aside for doing my WIPs and just, little prizes for myself. Well, how exciting is that? So it's just a way that I reward myself for doing WIPGO. So you just might want to try that too. It was fun. So I am going to get on to my WIPs for this year. I don't have them. I just have them all in a basket. I don't have them lined up by what number they are, but I will show you what I'm working on for this year in my very large WIP parade. And remember, you will see some bigger projects that I will also work on throughout the month as well. And either project in my square can meet my goal. One thing I did want to show you before I get started with my WIP parade is a very sweet thing I received in the mail from an exchange that I do. This was from a stitcher named Diane Bofferding. In this stitching exchange, they do it seasonally, and we just express our interest that we're in for that season. You don't have to participate every season, and you're matched up with a stitcher. Sometimes you send the same person that is sending to you and you don't know it. And then other times it's matched up differently, that you're receiving from a different person than you're sending to. So this time I received from a different person than I'm sending to. Here we have to have it out by the end of February. I'm not even finished stitching mine yet. But Diane was Johnny on the spot, and she sent me a lovely note, and she sent me some on the form that you fill out that you want to participate. You also are sent a little treat, and you just say what kind of treats you have or what allergies you have. And she sent me, I always like receiving a regional treat, something that's unique to their area. So she sent me a regional treat, and then she sent me a nice big bag of gummies that I love those. So anyway, she sent me this beautiful needle case that she stitched. And I believe, let me check the note. She said it's called A Bee's Gathering by Threadwork Primitives. So look at this adorable needle case that she stitched and so beautifully finished. I love it. Love it. The little bee counting pins in there are just precious. And her finishing was spectacular. And then she also sent me a little scissor fob that she stitched. and this little scissor case. And then check out these. I think these are the Dinky Die scissors, and they have bees on them. They look like real bees, not a cartoon kind of bee. And then she also sent me a little, let me get it out, a little bee waxer. So thank you, Diane. I was happy to share your talent with everybody, and I truly, truly appreciate you gifting this to me. Now I need to get on it and get my package out in the mail to my person. All right, so I will start with my WIPGO. So my WIPGO, one of my WIPGOs for February was this Plum Street Samplers Blue Skin. This was on my list last year, and it's from Plum Street Samplers. I actually stitched this one time for an exchange and wanted to stitch it again for myself. So I have made quite a bit of progress on this. And this will be mounted and placed in this tin tray. And thankfully, when I did this the first time when I stitched it, I cut an extra piece of the mat board to fit this tray so that when I go to assemble this, it'll be quite easy. So stay tuned. I will probably have this for all of you on my next floss tube. So that's one of my first WIPGOs. All right, let's see what else we have here. This is the Bells of Christmas Day, and this was on my January WIPGO, and this was actually a new start. So I didn't really get that far on it, but I just love this Blackbird piece. And this is the Bells of Christmas Day. Using the called for fibers, I'm not sure what linen it is. I've had this kit since before I really kept track of all those things. So that's that. This is always such a mess to put away after, because I try to take everything out of the packages and keep crunching to a minimum. Okay, this is one that has been in a project bag for quite a while, and this is one that I added as an extra. This is the Scarlet Letter Peacock Unicorn and Badger. This is stitched with Aversois silks on 40 count linen. And I've seen a lot of people stitching this on a green linen so they don't have to do all of the fill in. I've had this around for a few years, and at the time it would have been nice to do it on green linen, but I ordered it as a kit from Scarlet Letter. So it came with the linen, and honestly, I don't really recall there being a nice green linen at the time that I would have stitched it on. But I really find fill-in work rather meditative, and I like to do it if I'm watching a show or something with my husband, because sometimes he'll say, can't we just watch TV tonight that you're not stitching? Because I'm usually, if I'm stitching on something kind of involved, I'm usually paying attention to my stitching more than the show, and I ask a million questions. But the thing is, if I'm not stitching, I don't know about you, but I get so tired and I end up falling asleep. So anyway, I can do the fill-in work when I'm watching TV with the hubs. All right, here's another WIPGO for this year. I don't know, I've seen a lot of people stitch this. This is by Stitches by Ethel. It's the Sewing Bird. And I would like to finish this kind of stuck onto the top of an oil can. This is stitched on Grace Notes French Vanilla using the called for DMC. And I was recently in an antique shop and found this awesome blue oil can that is not greasy at all. It looks brand new. So I'm planning on doing my finish of this on this oil can. So again, it's not a WIP, it's just a new start that I've really been dying to get into. And so that's that, the Threads of Time Sewing Bird from Stitches by Ethel. Okay, my next WIP is Blackbird Designs, What Remains is Love. Now, any of you that have been following me may have heard me mention before that I'd like to stitch this as a memorial to my mother and my stepdad. My stepdad passed away many years ago. My mother passed away 3 years ago, December. And I'm finally ready to stitch this for her as a remembrance. I'll do another sampler in remembrance of my dad and my stepmother when the time presents. My stepmother is still very healthy and 81 years old. And so hopefully I don't have to stitch theirs for a long, long time. But anyway, this is What Remains Is Love. And it is stitched on, let's see. I got this from Traditional Stitches when they had their anniversary. Okay, this is on Weeks Dye Works straw with the called for over dye threads. All right, and that again is a get started on. It's not a WIP. And this is another one of those. This is Blue Coat Santa from Teresa Kogut. She offered this at the Jingle Ball this year, and I absolutely fell in love with him. And he is on I forget what linen, but here's the linen. And then I have all of the called for DMC and overdyes. So once again, this will be a new start. I know WIPGO is intended for WIPs, but as soon as I put a stitch or two in it, it is a WIP. And like they said, my WIPGO, my rules. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, moving right along. This next one is truly a WIP. I have had this started for years. I don't really know why I stopped. This is Holly and Ivy by Shepherd's Bush. This came as a kit. The Shepherd's Bush kits are wonderful. They are several pages long and they have great stitch diagrams. Let me see, and really great instructions. It's like this, that they go through section by section and give you a stitch diagram and tell you exactly what to do and have a wonderful master chart to follow along with. And so this is how far I am on this. I really have no idea why I stopped. But this is such a sweet piece. You get all the embellishments with it. And I can't wait to get into this. I don't often use a scroll bar, but I do like the roller frames, roller bars, when I do use one. And I think when I'm doing a lot of specialty stitches or over one, that's when I pull out the scroll bars. Okay, the next one, this has been around for way too long. This is by Wit by Needle and Thread. This was the Sampler Schoolhouse series. This goes back, a number of years. In the summertime, Brenda started this huge stitch along, for people to start summer school. So I have a lot of the pieces finished. I'll show you the ones that are done. Okay, this was from 2017. I finished this one. And the next piece, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This one. And these are all done on Lugana or Joblin over 1. This one's finished. This one's finished. So I'm just getting down to the WXYZ, and then there's a little horn book and a strawberry that you also stitch. So I am really excited about this, to get this finished. I'm using all of the called for threads that all came kitted up. I ordered my kit from Shepherd's Bush that year, so I just kind of have to get a grip on where I am, but I'm really looking forward to this one coming up in my WIPGO, number draw. So stay tuned for that. Oh, this pile just goes on and on and on. All right. This again would be another start. This is Scarlett House Needfuls. I love all of these pillows. I do have a few stitches, not even worth showing, in this. So this, I guess, officially is a WIP. It's stitched on baked clay from Fox and Rabbit. I think it's 40 count baked clay. And then here's all the called for colors. Okay. Next up, oh, this is going to be like killer to put all this away afterwards. You should see the pile that I have. Next up is the Jingle Bells block from Hands On Design. This was in the Jingle Ball like 2 years ago, but has now been released. So I have this all. Again, a little negligible start on this, but these are all the DMC. I'm using the DMC. Kathy does a great job with color. And then I'm using 32 count Flyguard antique white linen. And these little blocks that Kathy Haberman does are super easy to put together. Again, she has wonderful finishing tutorials on her website, and they just make for an amazing straightforward finish. Just like my finish on the Christmas Tide sampler, it just went together perfectly. I mean, I really had some good finishing mojo when I was putting it together, but it just was a snap. A snap. Here's another WIP from Scarlett House again. This is a sampler alphabet. A Stitcher's alphabet. I only have a few letters stitched on it. Stay tuned for more. I'm using the called for colors. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Some of this is such a jumble, but you know, I kept delaying in recording my floss tube, and I felt a little rusty as it's been a long time, so I'm sorry. I apologize. But these are the called for colors, and then it'll all get finished onto this board from April Whitaker of Homestead Needlework, and she has a shop on Etsy. If you've never used one of April's boards, they're great for finishing, and they really add to your piece. She really does a beautiful job with making her wooden pieces for needleworkers. This is still in the bag, but this is very cute. It has like these little kind of button knobs on this board. Those are the same boards that Sylvia from Running with Needles and Scissors uses on her gravestone series. And you ought to check her designs out. It's like she has these little gravestones that are stitch related. They're really cute. So you might want to check those out too from Sylvia. All right, what do we have going on here? Oh, here we go. This has been my Mrs. Claus cookbook, and this is one of the WIPs that I put on several times throughout my WIPGO board. This is from Living on the Rainbow, and from Olena. She has an Etsy shop. You ought to check it out. She has very, very cleverly designed and assembled pieces. This was a cookbook, and this was done as a sal. I didn't really expect to get it finished before Christmas. I barely got it started before Christmas, but at different times throughout the fall, and then just recently, she sent you another segment of the book. Now, this is a little cookbook. It's only about, let's see, I have a little bit stitched. The cover is stitched on Ada. Okay, I only have a little bit stitched. It's only about this big. The cover is full coverage on Ada, and then the pages are stitched on Vintage Country Mocha linen. And so this is Mrs. Claus's cookbook. So this was one installment. For the front of the book, the back cover of the book, and then every time she sent another pattern, you got a recipe. So this one was reindeer treats. Then we have candy cane soup. Now my friend Stacy has stitched this, and she, again, didn't even think she would start it. but just wanted to get in on the sale to get the patterns and everything. But here, Stacy has almost finished it. Here's Winter Chili. North Pole Pizza. Sugar Plums. Toyland Fudge. And Present Multipliers. So then she's recently sent out the finishing directions for all of it, and her directions are very complete. They're very thorough, and really check out Living on the Rainbow. Living on the Rainbow. Let me see. Is it Living on? Hold on. Living on the Rainbow on Etsy. She really has some wonderful designs available. Very cute. All right, so that's that one. We're getting there. Pardon the reach. My next WIP is the Scarlett House Sarah Sanderson. This was another one of the exclusives from the Homespun Needlework group. You're noticing a theme here. I have a lot of the Scarlett House. I just love Tanya's designs. I mean, and this sampler is another. It does not disappoint. I love the trees at the top. I love the bird in the middle and the houses. So anyway, being a border girl, I have gotten as far as stitching the border, the guts, you know, just the basic guts of the border. And I hope to make a lot more progress on that this year. The thing is, I get going on these pieces again that I've sort of resurrected, and then I don't want to stop. So that's why I've built in some flexibility for myself. This year. This one was one of my WIPs from last year. Oh, excuse the reach here. One of my giveaways just fell off my table. This was one of my WIPs from last year, and this is Martha Martin from Whilst Iris Naps. And this I also believe was an exclusive with the Homespun group also. So I have gotten quite a bit done on Martha, but I'm anxious to dive back into this again. Again, my border is done. And now I'm doing the fill-in. You know, it's really kind of fun diving into your WIPs because it's like connecting with old friends. You know, these projects that you've started and you loved, and it's just really connecting with old friends again. So it really makes it fun. I know I get down on myself sometimes that I have too many things started, but you know, it's all about the joy of stitching. And you know, so whatever you're doing that you're enjoying, and stitching is such a comfort to us in the good times and the bad times, stressful times, happy, sad. It just really, it's something we can connect to and that can give us peace. So here we go. Another WIP. This is exhausting just going through all the WIPs, but you know, I know all of you are in the same boat too. Most of you. My other WIPGO, this is really, the picture is very gray there, but this is a Stacy Nash critter. This is Maggie May. I'm seeing her all over Instagram and FlossTube. I have a shameful little start on Miss Maggie, just that. But I'm really excited to get into this. I'm using all the called for colors. I see that some people have changed out things. The only thing I might change is that I might give her, you know, the little pink shoes that people have given her. So here's all my threads. Oh, I'm sorry again, I don't have them all together. But this is Miss Maggie. I've told someone that I feel like I'm collecting a zoo because I have been collecting now all of these Stacy Nash critters and have not stitched any of them, but I have them all collected, just ready to fill up a bowl with all these little friends. So there you go. That's Miss Maggie May for you. Okay, my next WIP was also one that was in my pile for last year, and it's the Hands Across the Sea, Matilda. And this was from the original, the first red box that Nicola put out. So now she has just distributed her red box, the third one. I really enjoyed having the red box, and maybe sometime I'll get another one in the future. But this Matilda is beautiful. I'm stitching it on 36 count Brea, I believe. Let's see. Oh, I don't remember. I think it is. And I'm using Wavy Navy, and let me see if the other one's down here. Here it is. Wavy Navy and Cherry Cobbler I'm using to stitch Matilda. This has been a really fun stitch. Sorry for a little bit of wrinkles there. But there you go. That's Miss Matilda. All right. Next, this is a reproduction by my sweet friend, Robin Lockoff from Old Willow Stitchery. And I started this last year, Isabella White. And I love this. I love how it's a lot of red and green, or red and kind of like a beigey green up top, and then blue on the bottom. I love that. So again, here we go. I don't have the whole border done, but I have a lot of it done. And this is on Fox and Rabbit Inca. And I believe that was the linen that she called for. Yes, Fox and Rabbit Inca. I think mine's 36 count. And then here is the called for colors. Okay, this little one has been in my WIP bag for a number of years, sad to say. This is Heartstring Samplery, Never Let You Go. I was stitching this as an anniversary piece for my husband and I, probably about a few anniversaries ago. But here we go. Again, the border is stitched, and I can't wait to get going on this more. Okay, we are starting to wind down a little bit here. All right, one of my other big projects that I have going on for the year is Patrick's Woods, The Button Lover's Brag Book. Now this, Sherry Jones is retired now, but she taught for a number of years. The name of her company is Patrick's Woods, and this is a little button book that you see all the pages here. You create the whole book. So this was on my WIPGO last year, and I had very little started. So I did achieve to get the buttons part stitched. And this was all 10 stitch over 1. And then I also went through and basted, you can hardly see it, but I basted for all of the pages. And I counted and counted and counted and counted. So really the hard work of that is complete. Don't get me wrong, there's still a bunch of work left to do. I made myself a project bag to go along with it, to inspire me, with buttons on it. And I also made one for a friend who is also trying to get a bite on this project also. So that's one that I have listed on my WIPGO in a number of places for this year. So I'm really anxious to show all of you these things as I get going on them. So I think what I have left is more of my larger projects I have listed. This one I've shown before. This is the Mary Cox Young Ladies Workbox. This was a class a number of years ago at the Buffalo, New York Guild, the Exemplary Needlework Guild. And I've been picking away at this. It has a beautiful box that all these treasures go into. And haven't really gotten a whole lot done, but enough. So that's one that I will be working on throughout the year. And again, she has a number of spaces on my WIPGO board designated to her. The other piece I have is a sampler. It's also a Mary Cox that I have been stitching for my friend. I will show you. It's a friendship sampler. She's doing it for me and I am stitching it for her. And my friend Debbie, I've mentioned her before. I went to visit her in the Buffalo, New York area in the fall. So it's this sampler that we are doing for each other. This one here. So that's that. And yet another Mary Cox piece. You're kind of getting the designers I love. I love Scarlett House, Stacy Nash, Mary Cox. So this is a piece here. I was actually started this, oh my gosh, 2015. I was stitching this in honor of my mother at the time because my mother paid for me to take the class. She gifted me the class for my birthday. And let me show you. This all fits into a box. Let me see if there's a picture of it here somewhere. Yes, here we go. Take it out. It all fits into a box. So anyway, this is one of the ones that I will be working on throughout the year. As well as this one from Catherine Theron. I really don't have that much more to do on this. What happened with this is that this was actually a pilot class that taught by Catherine, I think in 2018. And she was supposed to teach this for the EGA national meeting in 2019. Well, we all know what happened then. And the EGA thing got canceled due to COVID. And there's also a lot of spiral trellis stitch up here. And as much as I've tried and tried and tried, spiral trellis and I don't really get along. So I lost my mojo on getting this finished, and I really hope to this year. There's a whole notebook full of instruction for this piece, and it is absolutely going to be a stunner when it's finished, but I just have to get it to that point. So anyway, I hope all of you will cheer me on. Then, last but not least, I have my leap year piece. Now, last year, I talked about doing a leap year piece that we would, since last year was a leap year, and a piece that would take you 4 years to do. Excuse me, I need to get a drink of water here. You know, designate a piece that you could take 4 years to stitch. Well, as you can see, some of my pieces have taken me way more than 4 years to complete and had nothing to do with a leap year. Anyway, I chose His Eye is on the Sparrow, and I am stitching it over one on 20, I think 25 count. And these are all the Luscious colors. Honestly, I don't really have very much done, but I hope to. And I was speaking with a friend of mine last week, and she said her leap year sampler, she got started on it in February last year, and that's all she did. So this is mine so far. It will be lovely, and I just have to get some steam under me to get going on it. What is all? Oh, that's my needles. They look like so much bigger. So anyway, there you have it. What else do I have to show you? Couple things. I have some giveaways, but I have a tiny bit of haul to show. My sweet husband actually gifted me this quite a while ago, and I forgot to show it. These are these like mini toolboxes. You can get them at Lowe's. I think they're about 20 bucks. And they're great. It's all metal, heavy duty metal. People have been outfitting them, lining them. This is great for sticking floss drops on. I mean, not floss drop, needle minders. There's 2 drawers. They come in all different colors. I've seen someone have a black one that then I think on Etsy they bought stickers to put on it that was reminiscent of a old Singer sewing machine. That's kind of cool. But anyway, check it out. They're from Lowe's. He ordered it online from Lowe's. And it was very sweet of him to get that for me. I was telling him about them and he's like, well, what color do you like? And when I told him red, I didn't really say, I said, I kind of like the red one. And he's like, oh, there's a lot of colors available. Well, the next thing I knew, it showed up at our house. So that was very, very sweet of him to surprise me in that way. I am so blessed that he is, here's, I'm reaching for one more thing. I am so blessed that he is so very supportive of my needlework. He really appreciates it. He's always excited when I get something framed to see how the finished product works, or when I do my finishing. He's very, very kind and very supportive. All right, so this is a piece of haul that I recently bought. It's the Proverbs 31 sampler from Plum Street Samplings. And I am stitching this. I haven't started it, but I will be stitching it on Vintage Country Mocha linen and all of the called for threads. And I thought when I first saw this that it was finished, that it was framed, but it actually is not framed. It's in a box. See, up at the top here, you can see the hinges on the box. So I was able to purchase the box. I got it last weekend. So this will be fun. It's not really a huge piece, and this will be a lovely finish on this piece. So that's pretty exciting. Okay, friends, I think that brings us to the end, except I want to share with you some giveaways that I bought when I was in Germany at Christmas time. And I will give you the keyword. Of course, to participate in my giveaway, you must be over 18, so I can contact you and mail something to you. Please don't say raffle, you know the drill. So like and subscribe to my videos, and then put the keyword in a comment that you would, for the gift that you would like to be considered for. You can, use the keyword on all of them, and I will select a winner for my next floss tube. So seeing it as I was there over Christmas time, some of these things are holiday related, but it doesn't matter. So the first one is this metal tin, looks like a book, and it has some nice German chocolates in it. And the keyword for this would be Santa. And I bought one of these for myself too. And what I thought I would do, it opens like this, like a book. What I thought I would do is line it and use it as a little holiday sewing box. So the keyword to win this box of chocolates is Santa. Okay, I do have this other fun gift. This is something we used on New Year's. And these, you can hardly see them, but they're 4 little charms. And they are made out of aluminum. And there's a little spoon. And you heat the aluminum on the spoon over a candle. I know, kind of looks like Breaking Bad. Anyway, it was fun. And then once the aluminum melts, you dump it into, I think we put it into cold water. Yes, and then it hardens up, and then you see what the shape looks like. And there's a QR code on the back that gives you the interpretation of your little aluminum pieces and has your fortune. I will say that you kind of have to be a little creative with what you think these little shapes look like, but some of them really did come out looking solidly like a recognizable shape. Anyway, this was kind of fun. I had never seen anything like this before, so I made sure I wanted to bring one home to you to share with you. So if you would like to win this little New Year's fortune telling thing, your comment should include fortune. And then the other piece I have is, again, I stopped at the airport in Amsterdam on the way and on the way back, and I bought this little pair of Dutch shoes. I made a pin cushion out of it with a wool ball, so you can have a pin cushion and then a little spot to put your scissors in the other little spot. So here you go. They are just so cute, these little wooden shoes from Holland. And the key word for this would be shoe. If you would like to win this, just include shoe in your comment. Again, Santa, fortune, and shoe. Okay, my friends, I so apologize for my absence. But again, you know, when your heart is heavy, it's just hard to focus sometimes and share. So things are on a steady keel right now. And I hope to come back to you probably in another 4 weeks and share more of my stitching with you again and my progress on my WIPs, and just have some fun time together. I totally appreciate all of you. For those that are returning viewers, for those of you that are new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you touch the little bell, you'll get notified of when I post other videos. But again, I treasure our time together. I appreciate all of you, my stitchy friends. And so hopefully I'll be back in a timely fashion that the world will stay calm. Okay, so until we meet again, may you find calm, joy, and relaxation in your stitches. Love ya. Bye-bye.